A guy who thinks the world owes him everything. Strutting around like he's king of the neighborhood. But one fateful night, his arrogance catches up in the most spectacular way. Boom, he's slapped with 9 felony charges for swiping school gear. And karma doesn't just knock, it kicks down the door. Meet Mark Thompson, a self-proclaimed HOA enforcer in the quiet suburb of Willow Creek. Oh, man. This dude was the epitome of entitled, always nitpicking neighbors' lawns. Slapping fines for the tiniest infractions. Like a rogue blade of grass out of place. But deep down, he was drowning in his own hypocrisy. Using the HOA funds like his personal piggy bank. Sigh. The kind of guy who parks in handicap spots because he's only gonna be a minute. You know the type. Right? The one who yells at baristas for getting his latte foam wrong. It all started innocently enough, or so Mark thought. The local elementary school, Willow Creek Elementary, was upgrading their tech. Projectors, laptops, sound systems, shiny new stuff funded by community taxes. Mark, as HOA president, had been whining for months about needing better equipment for their monthly meetings. Why should the kids get all the goodies, he'd grumble over his morning coffee. The bitter aroma mixing with his growing resentment. The air in his stuffy home office smelled of stale ambition and printer ink. A constant reminder of his unfulfilled dreams of power. One crisp autumn evening, as leaves crunched underfoot and the distant hum of traffic faded, Mark hatched his plan. Why beg when you can take? He figured the school owed the neighborhood, after all. HOA dues helped maintain the parks where kids played. Twisted logic. Ha! He slipped into his beat-up truck, the engine rumbling like a guilty conscience, and drove to the school's storage yard under the cover of twilight. The chain-link fence rattled softly in the breeze, a metallic whisper warning him to turn back. But no. Mark's ego was louder. Heart pounding. He grabbed his bolt cutters from the toolbox, clink. Clink, the cold metal biting into the links. Snap. The fence gave way. And he stepped inside. The gravel crunching like accusations under his boots. The storage shed loomed ahead, its door slightly ajar, inviting trouble. Inside, the air was musty, thick with the scent of chalk dust and forgotten gym mats. Rows of boxes gleamed under his flashlight beam, projectors worth thousands. Laptops stacked neatly. This is for the greater good, he muttered to himself. His breath coming in short, excited puffs. Oh! The thrill. But was that a rustle outside? Nah. Just the wind. Or was it? As he loaded the first box into his truck, heavy, thudding against the bed, a twist hit, his phone buzzed. It was his wife. Emily. Texting, "Where are you? Dinner's cold." He ignored it. Sweat beading on his forehead despite the cool night air. The weight of the equipment mirrored the growing burden on his soul. Box after box. He hauled them out. Muscles straining. Grunts echoing in the empty yard. These kids don't need all this fancy stuff, he rationalized. His voice a low growl. But deep down, a nagging doubt crept in, what if someone saw? Enter Lisa Ramirez, the no-nonsense school security guard on her late-night rounds. The beam of her flashlight cut through the darkness like a knife, illuminating Mark mid-heist. "Hey! What the hell are you doing?" she barked, her voice sharp as shattered glass. Mark froze, the projector slipping from his grasp with a crash that reverberated through the yard. Plastic shards scattered like his crumbling alibi. This is HOA business," he stammered, his face flushing red, the metallic tang of fear in his mouth. Lisa wasn't buying it. She radioed for backup. Her words clipped and urgent, "Intruder in the storage yard, looks like theft in progress." Sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder. A symphony of impending doom. Mark's mind raced, run? Fight? Beg? He chose bluster. Do you know who I am? I'm Mark Thompson, HOA president. This equipment is for community use. His voice cracked, betraying the panic bubbling inside. Oh. The irony, the rule stickler breaking the biggest rule of all. Parents started gathering, drawn by the commotion. First came Sarah Jenkins, a single mom whose kid attended the school. She clutched her robe, the night air chilling her skin. That's our school's stuff. How dare you, she exclaimed, her eyes wide with disbelief. Then Tom Harris, the burly dad from down the street, fists clenched. You've been terrorizing us with your HOA nonsense. And now this? Unbelievable. The crowd swelled, murmurs turning to shouts. The air electric with outrage. Mark backed against his truck, the stolen goods mocking him from the bed. You don't understand. The HOA needs this more than some snot-nosed kids, he yelled. But his words fell flat, drowned by the chorus of anger. A twist unfolded. One parent, old Mr. Patel, pulled out his phone and started recording. Smile for the camera. Mark. This is going viral. The flash blinded him momentarily, stars dancing in his vision like fireworks of his downfall. Police arrived in a flurry, lights flashing blue and red, painting the scene in strobe-like drama. Officers hopped out, badges glinting. Hands where we can see, one commanded. Voice booming. Mark raised his palms slowly, the cool metal of handcuffs clicking around his wrists. Click. Click, a sound that sealed his fate. As they led him away, he caught Emily's eye in the crowd. She'd shown up after his ignored text. Her face was a mask of shock and disappointment, tears glistening. How could you? Mark, she whispered, the words cutting deeper than any blade. The interrogation room was stark, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead like angry bees. Detective Harlan grilled him relentlessly. 9 felonies. Mr. Thompson, grand theft, burglary, vandalism. The list goes on. Mark slumped in his chair, the plastic seat creaking under his weight. The room smelled of stale coffee and regret. It was just borrowing, he protested weakly. But even he didn't believe it anymore. Sigh. The mighty had fallen. Back in the neighborhood, the backlash was swift and brutal. HOA meetings turned into roast sessions. Remember when he fined me for my Christmas lights? Karma's a beast, laughed one neighbor over backyard beers. The clink of bottles toasting justice. Emily filed for divorce, the papers slapping onto the table with finality. I can't live with a thief, she said, her voice trembling. Mark's world crumbled, friends ghosted him. His job as a real estate agent tanked when the story hit the local news. But wait. Here's the twist that amped up the drama. Turns out, Mark had been skimming HOA funds for years. The school theft was just the tip of the iceberg. Investigators dug deeper, uncovering receipts for personal vacations masked as community events. Gasps echoed in the courtroom as evidence piled up. How low can one man go? The prosecutor thundered, his words hanging heavy in the air. The trial was a spectacle. Mark sat there, suit rumpled, tie askew, the scent of cheap cologne failing to mask his desperation. Witnesses paraded in, Lisa with her unshakable testimony, parents recounting his HOA tyrannies. Even Emily, her eyes avoiding his. He always thought he was above the rules, she said softly, a single tear tracing her cheek. The jury deliberated for hours, the clock ticking like a bomb. Guilty on all counts. The gavel slammed down, bang, echoing through the hushed room. 9 felonies. Years in prison looming. Mark's face crumpled, a broken man finally facing the music. As guards led him away, chains rattling, he glanced back at the gallery. I'm sorry, he mouthed, But it was too late. The air felt heavier, charged with the weight of justice served. In the end, Willow Creek healed. The school got new equipment, funded by donations pouring in after the story went viral. Neighbors banded together, ousting the old HOA board and electing fair-minded folks. Sarah Jenkins became the new president, her laugh ringing out at meetings, a far cry from Mark's scowls. What a wild ride. Ha! This tale reminds us, entitlement might feel empowering, but it blinds you to the cliff ahead. Karma doesn't forget. And justice? It hits hard. So next time you think you're above it all, pause. Breathe. Ask yourself, is it worth the fall? In the end, true power comes from humility and community, not theft and bluster. Stay real. Folks, the world needs more heroes, fewer entitled fools.